Maybe showing because you just wake up. Pretty sure. Better. Yes, better. That's perfect. Yes. Yeah. You want to reduce it. So that I will reduce it. Like working now was conected with
That is what the mistake maybe taken by the
it. I did 6 points.
Disconnected. USB speaker. Bluetooth connection succeeded. Enter Bluetooth. Power on. USB speaker.
you should not, or why would that Orisha worship among the Yoruba or Christianity or Islam, it can be referred to as traditional religion. They say it because every of these aforementioned religion have taken an aspect of Yoruba and have been amongst the Yoruba. Now, I'm not saying in Nigeria, I'm saying amongst the Yoruba. They've taken aspects of the Yoruba culture and Yoruba traditional religion and infused it and adapted it to their own religion. So when you say Yoruba religion, you may also be referring to Christianity and Islam performed within the Yoruba context, the way it's performed. So to be able to distinguish between these three religion, which one I'm talking about, that's why I always call the Yoruba traditional religion Orisha worship, because it is mostly about the worship of the Yoruba Orisha. So amongst the Yoruba, there has been a lot of arguments about how the numbers of Yoruba deities. There are some that have argued that we have 16 deities. Some have argued up to 201 deities. Some have argued up to 401 deities. And some have argued that it's over 1,700. But this is not that the Yorubas are confused or they don't have they are not intelligent and can put a number to what they consider is traditional to them. What I found out is that most of these deities are just repetitions in different contexts. So, for example, you have the popular Oshun, which is the deity or the Orisha of Oshun River in Oshogbo. But you also have deities like that. I come from Neology, and we have Oigo, which is a river, and the deity in the river is also called by the name of the river, like Oshun, and she shares similar ritual performance like Oshun. So the argument will be that since most Yoruba would consider Ile-Ife as their source, and Ile-Ife is where this deity is in the first instance, one of the myths. There are numerous myths, and this this study is not about the myths of creation or the myth of how the Yoruba came to be. It's just me referring to any one of this myth, that one of the deities that descended from Orun, the unseen world, the invisible world, or the invisible realm to the visible world, which is Aye. Oshun at the beginning of time was one of them, and when they descended, they landed in Ife. They set foot in Ife, right? So if you have that kind of belief already existing, then if you have Oshogbo or Oshun in Oshogbo, you may have replications of that in other towns and villages amongst the Yoruba. So that is what so when I say extra humans or more than humans, I am mostly talking about deities amongst Yoruba. And as such, worshippers bring gifts, donations, votives to deities, such as supplications and as oaths towards sympathetic magic.
Sorry, please mute your mic, please.
Yeah. This sector of commoditization translates into dimensions of cohesion, substitutions, reconciliation, protection, networking, and deepening of relationships, sacrifice and offering, and ritual performances, which is in tandem with this notion of no free gifts. So my discussion here is talking about how the notion that there are no free gifts. People would assume that when you give gifts, it's with the intention of not getting back. And so my argument in this paper is there are no free gifts. Even if you intend it to be so, you know that when you do something, you expect that this thing that you have done that is good, you expect to be paid. It may not necessarily be by this person that you have done this good to, but in a way you have hoped that you have put something positive into the world, into nature, and that into the universe, and that in a way, at some point down the line, when you are in most dire need of help, that this good that you are put into the universe will come back and help you out of a tight situation. So there is no the idea that there are no free gifts is what I'm pinching my argument on. That when you do something, you expect to get something back in return, even if it's not immediately. So generally, these gifts are given with the intention of reciprocity, without which the Yoruba belief will unequivocally equate to being robbed. To think that you can give a gift without getting something back in return is amongst the Yoruba is considered to be that you are being robbed of something, because when you give something back, you should get something back in return. So, however, commoditizing humans as gifts in ritual practices and performances is considered a very great sacrifice. That is why the ritual and initiation marriages in Yoruba Orisha worship constitute a bond, not just among the devotees, but also between marriages in the Yoruba, between the devotees, that is male and female, and deities, they surrender themselves willingly as spiritual gifts. So amongst the Yoruba, like I said, because I am my context, I study, I'm a Yoruba literary scholar, so my context is mostly Yoruba, Yoruba. So whatever examples I'm drawing, I'm going to be drawing from Yoruba context. So it constitutes a bond between these deities and these devotees. They believe that when they give something back to them, when they give something in the form of a sacrifice or a votive to deities, they expect to get something back in return. And by giving something, they hope to create a very strong bond between not just them and their fellow devotees, but between them and the deities they have given this votives or sacrifice to. And so so such action imbues the gift with power, authority to act, present as an extension of the receiver. Therefore, the objective of this study is to examine how human as gifts, specifically in the Orisha worship, particularly among the Ifa devotees. Ifa is the Yoruba deity of wisdom and divination, are perceived not just as a means of sharing themselves with and submitting themselves completely to the deity, but also as a way of achieving holistic healing. Through an in-depth textual analysis of some of the selected Ifa sacred orature, this study will demonstrate how ritual and initiation marriages as forms of human gifting as perceived and performed among the Yoruba. So I'm talking about the concept of gifting among the Yoruba now. There is ore, there is offer, there is marriage, ìgbéyàwó, and there is aro. Now, among the Yoruba, there are different ways through which people give gifts. The return may be immediate, it may not be so. But when they give gifts, it goes around and it comes back to pay them. Even when parents take care of children when they are young, they hope that when these children grow old, they also do what? They pay them back. So there are no free gifts. There are no free lunch, even in free time. So everything people do, they hope that at some point, that is why the Yorubas will say that that when a bush rat becomes old, it suckles on the teeth of its child. That is, it gets nutrients, it gets nutrition, it gets sustenance from his, I hope my English is good, from its offspring. Thank you. I told you, I'm trying. So what I'm trying to say is when they do these things that they get, and when that also extends to how they perform these kind of relationships in marriage. So when my example would be from Ifa, there are times among the Yorubas where they give gifts in form of friendship. So when a parent is friends with someone, they give them gifts. They give them their children as gifts to marry for themselves or to marry one of their own offspring. That is, they can give a parent to marry their own parents, or they can give a parent their daughter so that both children can get married in the future. So that is one kind of marriage. And there's also the marriage of convenience, right? Where if a child is constantly killed and there is nothing they've been able to do to take care of this child, they can give this child to a medicine man. It could be an herbalist or someone who is very versed in the treatment of such ailments. And they give this child as a gift to that person so that the person can assume responsibility of taking care of this child. And so they don't have to pay this person to have this child taken care of. So that is when I talk about marrying the deity. So they call them, when they give this kind of children or daughters to say Ifa priests, they call them Ìyàwó Ifa. That is the wife of Ifa. That is a level to this relationship. Then there is also, which has been contested by many scholars about how Ifa and how Yoruba culture and tradition sees other kinds of sexuality. in the Yoruba culture, and I'll give you an example. So when an Ifa priest is initiated into the Ifa cult, he himself, as a man, his head is shaven, and he becomes like a new person because he's going through a rite. And in that space, he is referred to as Yahweh Ifa. And Ifa in Yoruba thought is a male deity. So when this Babalawo, who is a male father of secret, is also in that state becomes Yahweh Ifa, then you begin to talk about the kind of relationship that has extended the physical form, right, into a spiritual kind of relationship, same sex. Same can be found amongst your Shango devotees. You have Elegun Shango, who is at that time weaves his hair and is considered himself Iyawo Shango at the time that is being mounted by the spirit of Shango. And I say mounted because Shango has to go, it climbs. And if you are going to visualize the act of climbing in a sexual way, it is both physical and it is both also, it also can be, performed at the spiritual level. So this kind of marriages, I am saying that they transcend they transcend the physical. They go beyond and they also perform very well in the supernatural between deities and between the devotees of the particular deity and the deities themselves. And I have already said that I can recite if you will not start shouting Holy Spirit. But but because I have we couldn't start early and I have a list of them, I will I will round up because she's looking at me funny, and I hope to have questions if I'm able to make any sense. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you so much for the amazing presentation. So I picked so many important things and kind of similar to my own tradition. Like I'm Igbo, and I think we have, I know we have some things similar to this where the deities marry the ladies maybe after healing them or so. Like there is always this relationship, and it's actually a marriage culture, a marriage institution peculiar to Africa, and it's important and very sorry, you can't hear me very well. So it's so nice that we are looking into this and discussing it as it should, because this, even up till tomorrow, I don't know, but for my own side, it's still on and it's still happening. Although Christianity has taken over and it's becoming so loud, but all these things still happen in different communities. And the way she explained it, it's still very active and quite interesting to study. So I think we'll take the questions at the end of the session. So because of time, we would have to go to the first person who was not here before now. But prior to that, please, Dr. Ngozi Kobiani, just a word. She's the chair, one of the chair for this panel. Just a word from her before we continue to Mr. Rome.
Okay.
Yeah,
Ma, please,
I
can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
Yes, ma, we
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm sorry I logged in late. I have a issue with the university internet. I don't know. Dr. Bernard, thank you for the wonderful lecture. I enjoyed it. And I'm happy that as an international scholar, I call her a scholar. She found our panel worthy enough to submit her abstract. We appreciate you and I enjoyed it. Like Mesoma just mentioned, while you are presenting when I joined, I found that there are similarities in the cultures, and I've also mentioned in various instances where some of these young ladies who were married to different deities, and then Christianity coming together and destroying the groups where they stay as the wives of those deities, and how they've been also discriminated against because you found out that they are not properly integrated into the societies, especially by people marrying them as they've been tagged as the wife wives of deities, and then people are also afraid of those deities because they believe that taking something that belongs to the deities has its own recriminations and repercussions. Thank you for that wonderful lecture. And then at the end of the presentation, we will also find out those who have one or two questions to ask you or to also learn from you, because I'm seeing some PhD students around too. Thank you for that lecture. And then thank you, Ms. Soma, for holding forth. I appreciate it.
Thank you, ma'am. Okay, so the next person should be Rome Abo. Next presenter, please.
Speak up.
Okay, he's here already, so we'll be hearing from him shortly. Please, over to you, Mr. Rome.
I hope you can hear you.
Mr. Rome, please, can you hear me?
If it's frozen.
Okay, I think we should move over to Princeville Uzochukwu Anyanwu, please, while he's trying to reconnect back.
I think it's frozen.
Because of time too.
Yeah, that's what
Yeah. So
Hello,
Mr. Prince will take over.
can you hear me?
Actually,
Good afternoon.
okay, let's hear from Prince Uzochukwu Anyanwu, please.
Good afternoon. Can you hear me? Good afternoon.
I think Prince Will should not use his video. I think he should not use to see if the network can be better.
No, I should not use my video. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you, but I don't know. Mesoma, can you hear him?
Can I start my presentation, notwithstanding that it's very faint? Should I start presenting?
Please do.
Good afternoon, the chairman and members. My name is Anyanwu Prince Will Uzochukwu. The topic of my paper is marriage bride price and women authority. A sociological implication of price in Igbo marriage. Marriage is a legal union between man and woman, the husband and wife. What made the union legal? Payment of bride price by the group. Since marriage is patrilocal, the wife coming to live of the groom. It is the payment of the bride price that gives her the authority to be a bona fide member of such village or community. Payment of women bride price gave her full rights and privileges as a member of, and it qualifies the woman to take any traditional title of her choice and partake in the sharing of all the items gotten from traditional community. But non-payment of bride price of woman is to the groom's family. Such woman always faces stigmatization in the society, communal access. Non-payment of bride price may lead to early divorce, disjointed relationship between two families, and the disruption of burial rights that may lead to communal rights. The aim of the study is to ascertain that the payment of bride price is not for commercialization of women, as said by some scholars, but as a woman authority to be a bona fide member of the family or community where she married into, and to have equal rights in the family. The study also aims to bring the implication of non-payment of price. The study comprises all adult citizens of Igbo ethnic group. However, due to the large population size and money constraints, such based the study only in Mbise of Imo State. Mbise comprises of 3 local governments. The study used discussion, interview, and the participant observation methods as data collection instrument. For the easy collection of data, an unstructured interview was administered to 40 adult citizens who were randomly selected from the communities in the selected area. The descriptive accounts from the respondents form the materials on which this study based its analysis. Misconception of bride price payments in Igbo and African society. The study found out that bride price is not for commercialization. That is why during the marriage negotiation of items to be presented as bridal wealth, it is usually repeated by the bride's family that we are not selling our daughter. That is it. Anyị adịghị ere nwa anyị ere. So also the groom's family repeatedly says, we are not buying your daughter. Anyị adịghị azụ nwa unu azụ. This implies that the negotiation on the items for the payment of bride price are unconnected with the commercialization of a woman. All the respondents interviewed during the data collection said that there is no amount of wealth presented as the bride price of a woman that can be equated with what the parent used in training such a woman. In addition, Ego Eloise 2018 concludes that bride price has not implied commercialization. Rather, it connotes dignity and respect for womanhood. Bride price does not contribute to gender inequality between husband and wife. Maybe payment of bride price not in any way contributed to the gender inequality of husband and wife in Igbo society, but rather it is what qualifies a woman to be equal with her husband, answer the husband's name, and have the right of ownership of beneficiary to all the properties of the husband. Bride price payment is what made a woman indigenous in the community of her husband and made her have equal rights amongst other women in her husband's community. The notion of a man paying the bride price of his wife does not in any way bring inequality amongst the spouse, but rather non-payment of bride price brings inequality amongst women in the community, which is visible whenever there is an opportunity to share the communal cake amongst family members. The only thing that can make a woman lose her pride of place in her husband's house is if the bride price is returned to her parents and kinsmen. The implication of non-payment of bride price in Igbo land. Upon the higher importance placed on bride price payment by the Igbo people, it was found that non-payment of bride price has been generating socio-cultural challenges that may lead to lineage death and long-lasting enmity, which does not bring development to the Igbo race. The socio-cultural implication of non-payment of bride price in Igbo marriage includes that one, it reduces the couple's value amongst their pay. That is, any woman that her bride price was not paid is seen as a wayward woman in the community. Two, divorce can easily occur at the slight of provocation because the marriage is not properly consummated. That is, if the marriage is not properly consummated, at the slight of a small provocation, either the man or the woman may say that he or she is no longer interested in the marriage. Three, it causes disjointed relationship between two families. It will not, if a bride price is not paid, the two families will not have a cordial relationship to cater for one cause. Four, at the demise of the woman whose bride price has not been paid, the man who has been living with her as husband must pay her bride price even at death before the corpse is taken for burial. If not, the deceased will have a disjointed burial right, which will be a death trap to the children. Being a death trap to the children is when the children that did not afford their mother a befitting burial goes to another burial and partake in another burial, it will arouse the wrath of the ancestors to even to kill those children because what they did not do to give to their late mother, they are giving it to another. So it will provoke the ancestors to kill such a person. Conclusion: the payment of bride price is sacrosanct in Igbo marriage. It is a woman's authority to have equal rights with the husband in the community. However, the study elucidates in the clear terms that sociological implication of non-payment of bride price in Igbo marriage, which includes disjointed relationship amongst two families, and may lead to lineage death and communal crisis if not checked. It was recommended, among others, that payment of bride price sacrosanct in Igbo marriage, and parents should encourage their sons to pay the bride price of a wife before cohabitation. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Prince Will, for the wonderful lecture. Thank you. Mesoma, I don't know, maybe after the presentations, because I have a lot of questions to ask Prince Will on these paper presentations. On his paper presentation, at least he can be able to clear some of the gray areas. I have also carried out a research and written on the issue of bride price as it affects women in Africa generally, and not only in Igbo land, but in various contexts. And then it will be fantastic to clear some of my misunderstandings in the paper. I think when Mesoma started it, we are moving to the next person, who is Rome, if I'm sure. Rome, please, can you present your
sure.
paper while you keep your questions ready? for all the presenters and Anyang Prince Will, most especially. Thank you.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Hello? Hello?
I can hear
Can you
you.
hear me?
Hello?
Okay. Thank you so
Hello?
much. Yes, I'm here. I can hear
Hello?
you. Hello?
I can hear you. Please, who is
I can
sharing?
hear you.
The person who is sharing this screen should Prince
Hello?
Will's this thing should stop sharing.
I think you mute the other person. Please mute the other person. Okay. All right. Thank you so much. I must apologize for coming in late. I have been pressed by family issues, and the university was and a lot of things were happening, and my other system, which I prepared my slides, are not a cultural practice in Cross River State, in Northern Cross River State. Dog naming among polygamous women.
Please, your
Northern
voice
Cross
is
River State.
breaking.
It's an ethnic community called Bete, which is both an ethnic group and the language the people speak. Women own dogs. Women in polygamous relationships have other African communities, for example, the Batoma. Okay. Can you hear me now? Hello. 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 Okay. Can you hear me now? Hello.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. I'm sorry. I think the network is a bit bad.
Please continue.
Okay. I have to go away from my office and I'm searching for network. I'm sorry that, as I was saying, permit me to talk about a practice among one small ethnic group called Bete. Bete is both a name of that small ethnic group and the language of the people. In that small ethnic community in Northern Cross River State, women in polygamous relationship buy dogs or are gifted dogs, and when they are giving those dogs, can you hear me, man? Okay. So when they are giving those dogs, because they are in polygamous relationship, scholars have talked about the challenges of being in polygamous relationships. So they have a lot of challenges. Either it is with the husband or the mate, what we call co-wives in Africa. So the woman who gets that dog, she gives that dog a name that communicates covertly either to the husband or to the man, or both to the man and the woman. So I find that quite interesting. And I did an ethnography work, interviewed 30 people, 30 women, 20 women, and 30 and 10 men, which was done. I got information through semi-structured interview and informal interaction. And using social onomastic theory and feminist critical discourse analysis, I realized that women name buy their dogs, they name their dogs to tell lived experiences of marriage. For example, the woman can buy a dog and covertly address the husband's negative character traits. Perhaps the husband brought in a second woman who was pregnant before she came into marriage, and the wife, the first wife, knowing that that woman came with pregnancy somewhere, she will not say directly to the husband. She will get, if they become of age, they will go. Indirectly referring to the fact that that child does not belong to the man, but to someone else. And when the child comes of age, the child will go. Then the woman can also use that name to talk to her co-mate or her co-wife or her mate. For example, she may name a dog Bahat. Bahat translates to be going. I am waiting for God's appointed time. It could be in such context. Of course, what we did is to do a contextual analysis. These names exist, but we need to interrogate by asking these women, the specific reasons for giving those dogs those names. For example, one of the contests I experienced was that the first wife had children who were in universities, different universities. One was a medical doctor, and the other, one was training as a medical doctor, one was training as a lawyer, and the other was training as, I've forgotten now. But I remember this contest. So whenever they come home, the children come home, the children of the first wife come home, the wife would begin to call those children big names in mockery of the second wife. And the second wife said, okay, be going. You started before me. Be going, Bahat. Be going. You started before me. I am merely a second wife. I am coming behind. So that has a pragmatic undertone. The pragmatic undertone is that everyone have their time. Everyone has a time that something good will come to them. So I found that to be quite an interesting naming strategy, which the people use. Women. I would recommend that women, that dog naming practice should exist, should continue, because it is a way of averting trouble in the home. It is a way of enhancing peaceful coexistence, because that naming practice allows them to, vent bottled emotions. And rather than engaging or indulging in verbal duel, they use the dogs. Now, the dogs in this instance become, the conveyor of the namers or the name givers message. In that way, we also interviewed some of the men who are involved in polygamous relationships, and they said, yes, they understand that some of these names speak to them. It's directed at them, and they also understand the names or the meaning, given the context, given that these names talk to, or speak to the marital situation or marital challenges they experience with their spouses. So if you look at it all, I would recommend that this naming practice should exist for, for peaceful existence, peaceful coexistence among mates, among husbands, and for us to have, a peaceful society. That is my conclusion.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you for
Thank
your
you so much,
wonderful
man.
presentation and very interesting paper anyway. So if one is in a polygamous family and then you want to get at your husband, who you know you cannot fight, you can just buy a dog. And each time, if the man is a drunkard, you say, drunkard, come here. Which is very interesting, Pepper Dog. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it from the
I am so sorry that I don't have a
I can't.
detailed presentation because of family. I have a serious family pressure, and I'm involved in the university seriously. But I told myself, whatever it is, I'm going to talk about my paper, and I'm going to see you because I've been meaning to see you.
Wow. Okay.
Sincerely.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for that. I enjoyed the paper, and I hope you stay all through so that we can also dissect it further. Anyway, I enjoyed it, and I can't wait to see the end products and read the final output of this wonderful presentation. My mind, when I saw this thing, the title, my mind never went into this, and it reminded me of my grandmother who bought a dog, and she called the name Ayimnenya Ayignuche in my dialect. So what it means, Ayimnenya Ayignuche means, you have a friend, you and your friend are physically together, but deep within, two of you are not actually friends. So when I heard when I heard it as a child, I kept thinking about the name of that dog until I've grown. It was when I've grown that I now understood what she meant by that.
Okay.
Maybe after seeing how people, sometimes you think someone is with you and you never knew the person was actually isn't with you at all. So each time I have that kind of experience, I will always tell people that my grandmother bought a dog and she named it Ayimnenya Ignuche. And that was why this particular paper was very, very interesting to me. Thank you again for giving us the opportunity to listen to this wonderful paper presentation. Thank you again.
Thank you so much, man. Thank you, man.
I don't know if May and Uche are here to present their paper, or do we?
Good evening. May is here to present. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Good evening. Yes, sorry, just a little comment on the other paper. I really look forward to the dissection of the paper. I'm intrigued, particularly because that is also something that happened in my extended family. There is this polygamous home in my area. Actually, polygamy is no longer the norm. So there is this family that still went into it, and they had this dog naming thing. And I thought, oh my God, this is so weird. I thought it was I thought it's something that was happening in that particular family. So when I saw this paper title, I was really intrigued because, so something that is happening in my family is happening somewhere else, in a different tribe and all that. So I'm really intrigued, Jerome. Thank you for your paper presentation. Yes, the title of our paper is, can you hear me? Okay. The title of our presentation is Pottery, Girlhood and Marriage Rights in African Communities by May Okafor and Uche Bella Ono. I submitted my slide somehow. Please, the admin on ground at LSA, do you have my slide? The PowerPoint. Can you hear me? Can anyone hear me?
Miss Alma, please, is the admin there? Miss Alma, can we hear you?
Yes, I can hear you. But it's still echoing.
No, is the people at Miss Alma? Dr. Bernard, please, can you hear us? Okay, Miss Alma. She's asking about her slide. Is the admin there? Okay, May, I think we should go on because we don't have much time. Hello, May, are you still there? Hello? Okay, I think May is the last presenter. Maybe I'm not sure if she's still around, but maybe we should go into the Q&A. Please, I don't know if anybody at the audience, if they have questions for the presenters while we are waiting for May. Any question?
Yes, I have a question, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes. I would like to ask the presenter who talked about bride price. I would like to know what is the newness about his presentation. What newness has it brought to the discourse of bride price system, given that I think from this part of the world we come from, it is essential for bride price to be paid. For example, in my own part of the world, even if someone is married, or what we call accidental marriage in my culture, accidental marriage, the woman only becomes the woman's social identity and significance in her community of practice is when that bride price is paid. I think that a lot of studies on that. So I would like to know the newness, what is peculiar, what is new about bride price system in Nigeria and in some West African countries, even in Europe.
Hello, Prince Will. Did you get it? Prince Will, please unmute. Hello. Prince Will, can you hear us? Hello, Prince Will.
They can't hear us. Yeah, I'll take it. 15 minutes. Yeah, 5 minutes.
Prince Will. Okay, I think Prince Will is not is out.
Hello,
Or
can you hear me?
unmute, Prince Will, unmute yourself.
Mute yourself.
Hello, can you hear me now?
As we are waiting for Prince Will, please, do you have anyone who has questions for Dr. Bernard? Please, can you ask Dr. Bernard your question and then learn from her? She's our scholar. Don't allow her escape. Don't allow her to come to this panel and escape. Just ask her as much questions as possible. Please, do you have questions for her?
Yeah, can I ask some question? Yeah, I'm sorry, I met her presentation halfway, but I was also trying to listen to how these women feel. What is their own perception about their being married to these deities? That's number one. Number two is, what is the parents, the family concerned? How concerned, what is the underlying concern of the family when their daughters are married to deities? Are there some cultural significations that we need to know, some cultural value that the people attach to this? And if you connect that to gender, what is the social identity constructed around such a practice? Yeah, that's my question. Or those are my questions.
Okay, thank you. Dr. Bernard, to also add to what his questions, I want to also understand, because I also joined the presentation halfway, if those children, from what I understood from your presentation, whether those ladies who were given to the deities for marriage, whether they are kind of what the Yoruba call the Abiku or what the Igbo call the Obanje. Are they those kind of people that are given to the deities for marriage? Like sometimes also in Igbo culture, sometimes when a community committed a sacrilege, and then such young ladies can be used to appease the gods, and they stay in the deities. Or families can also maybe they are befallen by a misfortune, and they kind of go approach these deities for help, and at the end of the day they can also use their daughters as a kind of thanksgiving to the deity. And again, I'm wondering if you actually interviewed some of these women who are victims of such marriages without a husband, without love life. Do they have children? If they do, how do the children, did you interview the children to know actually their own lived experiences of that kind of being in that kind of social strata, or I don't know how to put it, or do those women, their own lived experiences, are they okay, comfortable with being married to the deity? And then the deity in question, or the deities in question, in terms of procreation, are they now, which means the chief priest is now doing the function of the deities, which we know we cannot actually see. So these are some of the things I would also like to understand, because we have similar thing in Igbo land. Is everywhere, even in my locality, is everywhere. Thank you.
I hope we are still together.
Presentation. You mentioned arrow the other time, and I want you to further explain, because in my own understanding, arrow is a way of paying back one's debt. Okay, paying back one's debt, not from what I understand, it's not necessarily a gift. So I want that area to be clear if it's a gift or a way of paying back debts. When there's someone of your more arrow, is maybe it's different, maybe the spelling, maybe we need to be clear about it. And then secondly, you should give us one of those originals, the one that appeals to you most. Okay, I'll think as many as
Can you hear us now?
actually, I want to just shed two lights on something that is not really clear to me. But when you were talking about identities, especially you mentioned Oshun. I am from the Chubu, and I do hear some things about the Aruba. Now, after their tenure as Aruba, they normally have these challenges of not giving birth, or except they got married to one of them, maybe Babalawo. So I don't really know, it's not really my thing, but it's something that I'm really interested when you talk about it. So I really want to shed more light on that area.
Yes, although I walked into the hall as you were already presenting, but I heard you talking about marriage, a kind of spiritual marriage. And I know that in marriage, there should be the consent of the two, whether it's spiritual or physical. I want to ask the girl, the victim, the girl, or the young lady, does she give her consent to that kind of relationship? There is this work on Elichama, the concubine. Yes, when you have that kind of marriage, but Inoma is not aware that she is the wife of the sea goddess. But anytime she gets married to a young man, the young man dies. Until the life of a third young man in the village is threatened by her, because she comes out as a very, very beautiful woman. Yes, yes. When it gets to the turn of the third man, they have to go consult the oracle. It's actually the oracle, the Dibia, that reveals her identity as the wife of the figure. She herself doesn't know what is happening to her. Why any man that comes to marry her has to die until the sea god, until the Dibia has to unveil that. Now, in this, your own presentation, the girl, is she aware? Does she give her consent so that we know how to treat the case of that young lady who they are giving as biscuits? You say as a gift. Yes, now, they said the parent can give her as a gift to maybe a god. So just like biscuits, buying biscuits. So we can look at the girl, the girl child, her consent, whether it's a child abuse, whether it's an abuse on her person. Do you understand? Yes. Good. That is for your own presentation. And for
They can hear. They should be able to hear us now.
He's nodding. Dr. Bo, can you hear me? Beautiful. Yes. Anyway,
I can hear you.
Here at the University of New York. Great. Your presentation was quite educative. But you said that they used to buy the dogs and give them the name in order to transfer their feeling, their ill feeling. So I also want to ask, do they also have dogs that they give names when they are happy? Maybe when the man buys some hobby and then gives to the woman, and the woman is happy. Is it just to like emblematize pain, anger? And when you do that, you see that every time this woman sees the dog, it reminds her of that anger, of that pain. Now, carrying that pain through her life, does it indicate maybe living in a friendly, conducive environment? Is it not better she pulls it out and get it settled than giving that pen to? So the way they give it, the pen to a dog, give it a name. You know, in our culture, names mean. In our culture, in Africa, names mean. Yeah. So instead of giving it to a human being, like people who call their children Ndidi Amaka, to show that maybe they have suffered for so long and they now say, patience, let me continue to. Now, but when they are happy, they can also give Angoleka. When there is abundance in the house, they will name the child Obianuju. And all so those dogs, you then also give them like, I'm happy. So that anytime, so that we don't continue to perpetuate anger, perpetuate pain and misery. They can also give them, I am so happy in this house, or that kind of thing. Thank you very much. Just one.
Please, I'm craving the indulgence. I saw that we have so many people in the room. I'm craving the indulgence of the those who are asking questions to please kindly make it very short, so we can ask the questions can get to others. Dr. Bernard, please, can you respond to the questions?
Commoditization. And when we say commoditization, simply means treating something or someone inappropriately. Now, as a commodity, but these girls, at the end of the day, something good comes to the person who actually gave the gifts. At the end of the day, because you said when you give a gift in your culture, it's assumed that something must return, something good must return. So I'm just asking, is it possible to now conceptualize this thing? I don't know, you can just come up with a concept. Since humans are commoditized, the intention of getting something good in return. I don't know. Okay, I think the most quickly response to questions and thank you. I'm going to raise the questions. I've learned because I have another panel. So thank you so much. I always take questions back to the conference because one thing I also want to, I understand it, like you understand what I'm saying. You have an idea about what I'm saying, and I take your comments as your questions and comments as improvements to whatever I'm doing. So thank you so much for asking me so much questions that I may not be able to get to that. But then I ask, so when we talk about how why we think that lady being married to a Yoruba, a Nipa priest, for example, who can take care of her if she's when she's healed? Why do we find that different from a woman marrying a medical doctor? You would not think that is bad because it's a medical doctor. But so why are we thinking that this medicine, this professional, this person who has taken taking time, years of their lives to practice and perfect a trade in a cultural setting, why do we think them inferior to an orthodox medical doctor? If our daughter is going to marry a medical doctor, we will borrow a Shebi, we do, Mumbai, I went to Mumbai, it's the same thing. It is the Yoruba to say that it is how you call your, if you call your clothes brass, that is our an outsider. They will name it safe, right? If you step on your own cloth, an outsider will tear it and burn it, because that is what you have presented as something that is not of any significance. So a female marrying or marrying a medicine, a traditional medicine man, is equivalent to a female marrying a medical doctor in a traditional and in a contemporary or modern sense of it. So that's number one thing I'm trying to correct. And also,
Doctor, I don't know, but you asked me a question about why Orisha would be, if I call Orisha, international religion Orisha, worship would be derogatory to the, and I say, the name deity does not even begin to explain the concept of Orisha. So that's why I don't even call it, I mean, you find in my papers, I always put the Orisha, I write Orisha, then I put the deity in brackets, because I'd rather say Orisha than say deity, because the Orisha itself is it's deeper than what deity can explain about the concept of divinity in the Yoruba cosmology. So if I call one of my Babala, and believe me, a lot of Babala will have PhDs in things, and they are very willing to share the things that used to be most secret in the past. So they talk to you, and I call them Orisha. They answer. If I call them only deity, they don't even know how to begin to respond to you. So they, our own, Yoruba, we call it Orisha, right? If you have pastor, give me the Yoruba meaning of pastor. Can you give me a Yoruba name for pastor? But you call it pastor, but you could decide to say akara and call it beans ball. And then it takes the meaning of akara, the thing that is counted to buy. The thing that when you want to buy, you have to count it. They know what they're talking about. So that's why I stick to the Yoruba. So it's to me and to a lot of scholars of Yoruba national religion, Orisha is never, to Yorubas themselves, Orisha will never constitute or mean become a derogatory term to describing that kind of that worship. So it's not. And sorry. So yeah, so and also you mentioned some. I'm trying to run through. Sorry, there's so many questions, and then I'm trying to run through the idea about me saying that or 11 means amount, right? I contributed to the encyclopedia on Yoruba in 2015, and one of the chapters that I wrote in it was spirit possession. And this is me trying to explain. It is when I say let's anybody who has ever seen spirit possession will understand that. But this, I'm taking it to a deeper level than what we are normally doing. That is scholarship. That is not doing what, because then you will say, what does it mean? So I'm saying that when you say something, when you want to mount it, when you want to, climb up, you say you mount because you are saying you are above something. So I'm trying to say that this spirit is not coming from below, it's coming from the above. So it's mounting this elevation because when you see them, and it depends on what kind, they have a level, they have a level of shun, they have also, they have a level shun. There are many deities have a level, they say they've been possessed. Possession does not come from it comes from their own. I mean, in the Bible, when the tongue of fire was going to descend on the apostle, did it come from it came from the above, right? So it's not going to happen from, it's going to mount this person, it's going to embody them. So that's why it shows that point. So I'm also trying to see that, okay, so if we are going to even be talking about sexualizing this act, mounting in itself, that is sexually sexually saturated. So that is another level of transition of it, because I am deliberately marked in this kind of discussion about description of what this. But I'm sorry, anyone that has had any question can ask consent of outside. And the consent, yeah, sorry, I'll take that one and I'll go because I have to go. And so consent is very, very it's very, very complicated. Okay. So when you talk about consent, when someone is seriously sick and they're dying, their power of attorney, I'm looking for an English word, is given to someone else, right? So at that stage, they cannot make any decision about their own life. When I was going to have my babies, I had two C-section. They asked me, your husband has to come and sign. I had to ask them, like, it's my life. Let me sign. Then they said, what if you're unconscious? Who's going to sign out? Who's going to do this thing? Because they expect me, they know that at some point things may take a turn. And they need someone who can stand in and make those decisions for us. So when we talk about consent, do I want to be making that decision for myself when I am unconscious? I don't know if I can, but someone is there that can make that kind of decision for me. So consent sometimes is not as easily explained as we want it to be. Not in the context that we want it to. I don't know if these girls, and it's an ongoing research, so I don't know if these girls, all of them will say, But these days, I rather dig gold, like what people say, than some people will say I rather cry inside of the Rolls Royce than smile under the sun. So if a Babalawo, and believe me, I knew a Babalawo built a 200 million Odisha temple in Oshogo, 200 million. Right? I said it, I don't know 200 million, I said 200 million. And yeah, and so you see, if a Babalawo has 200 million, if I can use to build a house, and then they want to give him a wife, even me, I'll marry. Yeah, so I'm just saying that what we consider consent or not, or I mean, or lack of it, it's very, very I don't know the English for that. I'm sorry. I have exhausted my English.
Okay, I think one question was directed to abroad. We take that and to the second. Okay, so abroad, you can respond to the question.
I think it's the network.
Because it's frozen.
His network is bad. And it's past time already. And this is 5:16.
Dr. Abo, can you hear us?
Yes, yes, I can hear you if you can hear me.
Please, our time is already answer the question.
Yes, yes. The person who asked this question, I'm happy to see you again. It's been some time. And thank you for the question too. But you know, something need to understand is that in this culture, the Bete people is a deeply mainstream society. The patriarchy is still practiced in that society, and in patriarchy, women are naturally silenced. And a woman is ill-behaved, so to speak, if she tries to express herself. So that dog that she owns and names becomes the cultural site for expression of herself. And we also need to understand that culturally, it is not allowed for a woman to give a child a name. If she does, it's something I'm working on now. If she does, that name remains a house name, what they call house name or home name, a name that does not extend beyond the confines of the home, a name that is not recognized officially. So that is how densely patriarchal that society is. However, when a woman appreciates her husband, she does not give that name to a dog. She rather gives the name to her female daughter. Unfortunately enough, that name does not go beyond the confines of the home. So we have names like Akunijo. He satisfies my joy. Akunijo translates to he satisfies my joy. That is, he makes me happy. I am happy. So we have names that the woman uses to express her happiness, her state of mind, her satisfaction with her marriage. But those names are not given to dogs. They are rather given to female children. And that is an interesting vista to me. That is an interesting aspect of the naming tradition, naming practices among the people. For instance, there are names that dogs cannot take. Sorry, humans cannot take. Dogs and humans don't share names, unlike some societies or communities. For example, the thief in Benue State. The thief in Benue State can give animals. They can give animal names to humans. But in this culture, and dogs don't share animals' name. Also, humans don't take animals' name. Animals don't take dog names, like the Batoma in Togo. So it is this. Sorry? Can I go on? Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Please go on. I don't know.
Okay, thank you. So
let's make it short, please.
Okay, I'm done. So this cultural practice, patriarchy, and how gender is constructed in this society also determines the naming practice or practices. Thank you. I stop there.
Thank you, Dr. Abu. I don't know. Mesoma, can you still hear us online? Hello? I don't know what is wrong with the network.
Yeah, the network is.
I don't know. I think I don't know what is wrong. This would have been an interesting session, but the network makes it difficult.
The network has not been kind.
And then the other Prince Will. Prince Will's, okay. Prince Will's Pepper. He's no longer online. I don't know if anyone knows him, but there are many things I would like Prince Will to clear. I want to understand why he chose Mbise actually to carry out this research. Because when it comes to Igbo land, many people are normally scared of getting married in Mbise because of what are involved in the traditional marriages there. I would have loved to know why he decided to choose Mbise. And then his idea, why many scholars, I'm happy that he's deviating from the normal perception in Africa about the bride wealth, bride price, or whatever you call it. His paper is a kind of giving a different perspective that bride price does not constitute gender inequality, but many scholars who are writing on women, many feminist writers are looking at bride price or bride wealth, that it constitutes a kind of gender inequality to the women. I would have loved to hear his clarifications on this, and then to also understand what he meant by that non-payment of bride price makes women to lose their status in their husband's house, which actually I've also argued that kind of a thing because it brings respect, but in other words, it's also a kind of not a bride price, not actually the woman does not lose the status in their husband's house, but is a kind of oppressive tendencies also on the woman, because it means when a woman, there are certain things you cannot do in your husband's house, because you will see men using this kind of expression, nwanyi eji ego lụ, nwanyi lụrụ alụ, nwanyi, a woman I married, a woman I use my money to marry. All these are the expressions which I'm not sure it's a kind of gives a woman equality between herself and then her husbands and her husband. So these are some of the arguments I would have loved to hear.